to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
That's the one that's my go-to, and it's like, it's not a social thing where I'm like following people I know. It's just interesting content to flip through.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm like, oh, I'm following that guy because I know him from fucking high school, or I'm following this. It's literally, I'm not following anybody. I'm just got a feed that I kind of scroll through, and my For You page is mostly pretty interesting, and that's it.
I haven't really thought about it until just now, like how much, you wind back before Elon purchased Twitter. Like I'm probably on the record a number of times of like how I used Twitter as a utility for news.
Right.
I have a pretty good curated Instagram feed.
Yeah.
And most of it is entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
There's very little. I subscribe to a number of like news outlets.
Yeah.
But Instagram is much smarter at feeding me
stuff you like.
The fucking Skeletor. Remember?
Right. Yeah.
Today is the last day of the first day of your life.
Right.
Until next time. And like you like one of those, and now I get fucking Skeletor meme shit.
Right.
What is the last one I've started getting a lot of? It's Gen Z
versus
like lingo translations of like Shakespeare plays, and so it's fucking like no cap. Romeo was was legit low key on Juliet, and like total. He had mad writ. It's total cringe, but I liked one, or I sent one to
somebody,
Tracy or my daughter, just to make her like, Dad's watching this,
right?
And now I get those.
Those are, yeah, but like TikTok, I think the only people I follow on there that are is Melly and maybe my wife, like their Squishmallow stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
and I don't even see those most of the time. Well, Melly hasn't really been posting as much.
Yeah.
Seems like she's starting to get back into it. In fact, she just made a video.
I saw that one.
Making fun of me.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a story behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because didn't I open my trunk recently here and it was full of Squishmallows?
No. Or you may have, but I didn't see it.
I mean, no joke. My trunk has been, since Melly has moved home, my trunk has filled itself. It's filled itself with Squishmallows. And I open up my trunk and there's just fucking Squishmallows inside of it.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, God damn, first of all, I like a clean car.
Yes. And
my trunk is part of that clean car.
Yeah.
And when my trunk is messy, and especially if it is not my shit,
right,
I start to get grumpy.
Yes.
So that is what is happening. And I'm like, all right, before the wedding, this shit needs to leave my trunk, knowing that the trunk was going to get filled with things for the wedding.
Right.
So I'm like, this stuff needs to leave the trunk.
Yeah.
Because we're going to need the trunk and probably the back seat.
Right.
And so this stuff, and so it did. It got cleaned out.
Yeah.
And so then they decided to fuck with me. My wife and Melanie.
When I was watching it, I was having a hard time trying to figure out the way that she was cutting stuff. I'm like, what was the length of time this happened? Because I was just with you at the rehearsal thing where I think we were pulling stuff out of your car.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, when did this happen? Because I was pulling refreshments out of your trunk.
What was weird was I went out to my car to get the hanger for my coat jacket.
Uh-huh.
My
suit
coat.
Yeah.
and the hanger was still in my trunk. So I go out in the garage, all of a sudden Shan is right there, and I'm like, "What is? Why are you
here?
Sidling me all of a sudden?"
Right.
And she's all, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Going to get my hanger."
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that the trunk it had some things in it, but that it was pretty much empty.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh," and then she like kind of comes out with me, and then I don't even realize it, but Melly has now opened the door and she's recording at the door.
Uh-huh.
And I don't even really realize it. I popped the trunk and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And my trunk was full of Squishmallows, and they just did it to bait me.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "I'm just going to start pitching these out in the street." I was like, "God damn it."
I told Venus, I'm like,
They were fucking with me.
She's got captions, and she said something like, but the way that her angle was in the trunk lid, and like you could just make out your eyes, and I'm like, he's pissed.
I was mad.
I'm like, he's not. Oh, we're making content. Like,
I didn't even know it was going on.
Frustrated dad. I'm like, I can tell you right now.
Well,
he's irritated.
I was irritated in the sense that I'm irritated normally when my trunk is just full of Squishmallows.
Sure.
Which is to say that no one gives a shit. But also maybe a little bit more than that. Because it was empty.
Right.
And then it was now full of Squishmallows again.
So this happened between rehearsal and...
This happened after the wedding.
Oh, okay.
Because I went to get my hanger for my coat.
Yeah. Right. I gotcha.
And so I was just like, "What the fuck?" And I think I was leaving. I was trying to clean up because I had to get my car smogged. I think that was on Monday.
Okay.
And I think I was leaving because I had to get my car smogged. So I was like, just trying to do some cleanup in the house before I left the house.
Right.
And that happened.
I told Venus, I'm like, if that was me, and if that had just happened to have been, I'd have been out and about and got in my trunk and seen that.
Oh, can you imagine?
I said, I'd have gone to Lowe's.
Oh, no.
I'd have bought a tub, and then I'd have put it all in the tub.
And then left the tub somewhere.
And left the tub. Gone straight to the landfill or something. And then when got asked, "What'd you do with the squish?" I would have been like, took it to Goodwill. I figured that's why they were in here. Here's $20. That's what I got in exchange for it. And then just watched the jaws drop.
They immediately cleaned the trunk out.
Of course they did.
Yeah. It was, I mean, looking at it now, and when I saw the TikTok roll across, I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure. I'll be the fucking butt of a joke."
Right.
Whatever.
Way to go, Dad.
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean, it's not to say that I don't support what she does in her content creation stuff. That's fine. But also, like, it shouldn't affect me. It should not be in my fucking trunk. Once it starts taking over my life, that's when I'm starting to get upset. You know what I mean?
Right. Dad, we're going to do something as a surprise. I've been like, okay. But
well, she got the real reaction.
Oh,
really.
Yeah, completely out of the blue. I'd have been a little chapped.
Yeah.
I'd been like, nope.
Oh, we're going.
And you're all lucky that it didn't happen while I was in a Rayleigh's parking lot and like went to get my grocery bag out of the back and then went.
Well, because I kind of wonder if I had left, would they have been like,
wait, take my car. You know,
yeah,
or done the thing.
Do you need to open the trunk, or
right?
I've gotta,
right?
You know, I don't know. I don't know what.
Yeah, how would that have played out if you needed to go somewhere, but not get in your trunk?
Yeah, I don't know. Like if I was going to Lowe's, I definitely would get in my trunk. When I go to the store,
right,
the stuff goes in the trunk and then I leave. Every time. Like I don't just plop it in the front seat. That's just not how I roll.
Right.
So it goes in the trunk. So I would have. If I was going somewhere for a reason,
right,
then it would have been a very frustrating moment in a parking lot somewhere.
Right.
Anyway.
Welcome to Sad Dad's Club Podcast. I'm the Lord Fu.
And I'm Jim.
Episode 311. Hey, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. We totally shit the bed and didn't record last week. We're ashamed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes sad dad life happens.
Right.
And that week was one of those moments that we couldn't have really planned for, I don't think, without really... I don't know that we could have looked ahead and really seen that happen.
Yeah.
And
plus, we're not getting paid.
yeah, Ulanzi is holding back funds right now for whatever reason.
They're like, we'll have to post-date the check. Or pre-date, post-date.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, what do you got?
Yeah, well...
Anything good happened last week?
Last week was really busy.
I would agree.
Tuesday of last week, we went and saw Two Door Cinema Club in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And that was bonkers. That show was really, really, really good.
What was the venue? Where was it at?
It was at the... it was at the Masonic.
I don't know what that is.
Really gorgeous theater in San Francisco.
Okay.
We bought the tickets the night before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had been wanting to go, and months ago, we were like, "Hey, Two Door's coming, but it's the week of the wedding. Do you think we can pull it off?" And everyone's like, "I don't know. That's cutting it close."
Right.
Because that was Tuesday and the wedding was Saturday, and we're like, there's going to be so much going on.
Right.
But as it turned out, the weekends were really our busy time, and the weekdays we had a little bit of down in the evening. So, and we've always said, if we're going to go see them play, the four of us have to go.
Okay.
So that was sort of the deal.
Had you ever seen them play all together before?
No.
Oh, wow.
And we've known about them for like 14 years or something.
Okay.
And so it sort of got left, and then it's like at some point you just go, those tickets are sold out. We're not going to make it. The tickets are probably sold out. So I don't know how it got brought up. It got brought up a couple times as time marched forward towards the date.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, my wife and daughter were like, we should go. And I'm like, I'm down. I said this before. I'm down.
Yeah.
And then it kind of hinged on Chandler, whether or not Chandler thought he could do it. Because, he gets up early to go to work. And we got home at 1. So,
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be a late, early morning for you, Tiger. Kind of thing.
So, and I'm getting to be the age where I don't recover from sleep loss as well as I used to, or as easily as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
So like a couple hours slashed off of a night's sleep, a few hours, tends to make a big difference. Maybe not just for the next day, but maybe the day after that, depending on what kind of sleep I get. And it was midweek. So, So we went, we bought the tickets the night before, decided we were going to go do it. Nicole hadn't been feeling that great, so she decided not to go.
Okay.
So just the four of us went, no plan. Just get in the car and drive to the show.
Okay.
Decided we don't know where to park, so we're just going to park at the Masonic parking lot. $60
Okay.
to park the car for the show, which is more than the price of one of the tickets.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I was like, that's fine. And then we had some time, so let's go get some food. The kids found Chandler, I think, and Chandler had run across. There's a restaurant that was few blocks away.
Okay.
That was a fake McDonald's restaurant, but it was all like vegan.
Oh.
Like everything was Impossible.
Okay.
But the burgers and everything looked just like McDonald's.
Oh, wow.
They had like a quarter pounder. They had a Big Mac.
Like faux Donald's.
Yeah, they had fries that tasted just like McDonald's fries. So the three of us went there. Chandler couldn't do it, but it tasted exactly the same. I don't know why. Anyway, literally across the street, there was an actual McDonald's.
Oh.
Chandler went there.
I gotcha.
So then after that, we're like, oh, we got to get to the show. And the walk back was up a couple of steep blocks.
Ooh.
And Chandler decides, I'm going to order a Waymo. which is, if you
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know,
Right.
the self-driving cars
Mm-hmm.
that are taxis. So he ordered a Waymo, and the fucking Waymo shows up, and we all pile in this car, and it just fucking drives. There's no one in the front seat. It's such a bizarre feeling to get in a car that is maneuvering through a city of other cars and turns and
No driver.
no driver. So that was really
It was
interesting.
for adults. What kind of car was it? Do you know?
Jaguar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're like Jaguar SUV-ish things.
okay.
So that was super fascinating to see how that worked, because you see them on like TikTok and stuff.
Sure.
Like there's videos of them. Someone like from their apartment is recording the Waymo parking lot.
Oh, yes.
And they're all stuck in the parking lot just honking and flashing lights, and they're all just honking and they can't move because they've created their own traffic nightmare in their own parking lot. So, you see that kind of stuff happening, and they're out there, and you hear people talking about them, but you don't actually ever use them. But we got to use one. It was kind of cool.
Fuck yeah.
But it wasn't cheap. It was like $19 or $18 to like go just a handful of blocks to the back to the show.
The computer program was probably like, sweet, easy,
Yeah, it was like
2 blocks, fantastic.
fucking lazy Americans.
Yeah. Good job, Americans.
So that was pretty cool. So that was the Tuesday before the wedding.
Okay.
Then we had run up to the wedding, which was basically just errands and stuff. And I took off Friday because Friday was the rehearsal.
Right.
So we had rehearsal at the venue, and that went really well. I thought it.
Oh.
I mean, for your part of it, everyone was in sort of setup mode. So the rehearsal came a little later than we expected.
Yeah.
But it was sort of like everyone's trying to figure out how the fuck this was going to work. Because for those not in the know, the wedding didn't have a planner necessarily. There wasn't like someone specific that was like the person in charge.
Right. The point person for all coordination.
Right.
Right.
Now that was, for the most part, a lady named Kirsten, which is Kojukaru, which is the family of Nicole's, a Kojukaru close family friend. Her and my wife actually did a majority. She did the vast majority. Kirsten did the vast majority of a lot of stuff. But my wife also did quite a bit, and they coordinated together on a lot of stuff. So between them and like figuring out how they were going to do all the stuff and like how to set the tables up, and I mean, just all that stuff. Had pizza.
Yep.
Someone had lasagna and wings
Yeah.
and pizza,
And
apparently.
oh, wow.
Yeah. So there was that. And that went off pretty well. I think we left. Were we out of there by 9, I want to say?
I don't know.
I feel like.
I think I left a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I think
than
you left
did.
before we did. But yeah, I think we were out of there by about 9 o'clock, which meant that we had to drive home and then get up the next morning, get ourselves together, get the rest of the stuff together and packed into the car, and then back up to the venue. I think we had to stop because Chandler's ring was too big.
Okay.
And so a couple of months ago when they got it, they found out it was too big. They make them on demand. And it was supposed to be ready after the wedding. So he was just hanging on to that one.
Right.
But they called on Friday to say, it's here. You can come get it.
Oh, wow.
Right. So that meant that the next morning we had to go pick it up on the way back up to the wedding.
Because the entire bridal party stayed up there in an Airbnb. Is that what I understood?
Yeah, they stayed up in Pollock Pines.
Okay.
At an Airbnb. So all of the wedding party folks, minus my daughter, so all of Chandler's buddies and all of Nicole's buddies, all stayed in an Airbnb together. So we picked up. It was like 10 or 10:30 in the morning. We stopped and picked up the ring and then headed up the hill. And we grabbed Melanie's friend Zalma, who rode with us.
Oh, okay.
So she rode up with us, and then we took her back. So there was a lot. It was just like it was like a very packed day, and then get to the wedding venue and set up and do all the little things that need to be done.
Yeah.
For a wedding.
Right. Get dressed.
Yeah. So that was an interesting bit. I didn't wear my stuff, like my suit and stuff and tie. I didn't wear that up there because it was going to be warm, number one.
Yes.
And it was a little on the warm side in the middle of the day. Probably low, mid-90s, somewhere in there.
I'm gonna use the term it's a higher elevation than down here.
Yeah.
So when you're in
a little more glaring sun.
Yes, the direct sunlight,
it's piercing.
It does. It feels like it's more of a direct sunlight, and so it feels hotter. The perception that is that the atmosphere is thinner, so the direct sun feels
more intense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's definitely a little bit of that. Now, the venue itself, for the wedding time, the sun would move and there was really big trees, so you get plenty of shade.
Yes.
That wasn't a problem.
No.
The problem was that the pictures were being taken a lot of pictures were being taken pre-wedding.
Okay.
And no one told me any timeline for when my pictures, I didn't know. Okay. I'm just helping out and doing stuff. Well, as it turns out, my dad showed up and he parked in the parking lot. So I walked down the hill to the parking lot to talk to him. And then we walked up the hill together. I get up to the wedding venue seating area, and all of a sudden people are yelling my name. So I have just hiked up this hill at elevation, not really high elevation, but enough elevation. What's it? Probably 3,000 feet, 3,500 feet there.
Yeah.
So hiked up this hill, and I'm just sweating already. And then it's, Jim, you need to go change for pictures. And I'm like, oh, shit. Well, that process is also uphill, up the stairs, to the car, into the direct sun because there's no shade up there in that parking area.
Right, yeah.
And then go change in the room that's hot as fuck.
Yes.
And now I'm stressing because I'm being told, you need to be ready now, go.
Right, yeah.
So I'm like changing and
in a fluster, and you're hot.
Yeah, and sweat is dripping down onto the front of my shirt. Like sweat is raining down off my face, all over my shirt. So that was a very and so from that point on, I felt like I was just a sweaty,
hot mess,
literally until like it started to cool off in the evening. Like through the ceremony and all that stuff.
You looked hot and sexy, baby.
I didn't, but that's fine. So then pictures, and we did all the pictures of all the things, and then the wedding happened.
Yes,
and it was actually came out really well. That was a really that's my opinion, but I thought the ladies did a super swell job.
They did. I was very impressed.
It looked the part. It gave Nicole everything she wanted out of the wedding, in my opinion.
Yeah,
there was a photo booth.
That was fun.
That was really cool. That was someone my wife knows from the school that brought that up
and it
for
was
free, I think.
Did I understand it that it was Chandler's actual iPad?
Yeah.
But it was an app in the kiosk. So
before the wedding, they had to take Chandler's iPad to the lady's house.
Oh, okay.
And her iPad broke. Otherwise, they would use hers. Her son smashed the screen on it.
Okay.
So they would have used her iPad, but Chandler's like, I got an iPad. So he had to go over and they had to load the software and get it set up.
Okay.
So I forget what night, Thursday night or Wednesday night, they went and did that.
Okay.
So it was Chandler's iPad in the photo booth, and then they bring a whole bunch of masks and hats and a big plastic
props and
champagne bottle thing.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
It was cool.
There was a DJ.
She was nice. I enjoyed talking with her. And
yeah, one of the things I really liked was everybody that was involved was somebody that Chandler and Nicole knew. You,
Yeah.
the DJ, the photographer was Melanie's soccer coach.
Well, yeah.
And we've known them for her and her husband Brian, the helper.
Mm-hmm.
We've known them for years.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that helped out, all the grooms people and the ladies, what do they call them?
Bridesmaids.
The bridesmaids.
Mm-hmm.
All of them helped out. Like no one was immune from helping. Everyone just did the
everyone
thing.
had a part or pitch in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything just sort of was like, we need to get this done. And it just would get done.
Mm-hmm.
It was very impressive. Couldn't thank people enough for any of that. And the amount of people that showed up was pretty incredible.
Do you have a head count?
I think there were a few people that said they were coming that didn't show.
I was going to say, because I was led like 120 something.
It was supposed to be 130.
But I don't know. I didn't really count. And then when I would count like the amount of chairs on one side, I would then squirrel and get lost and like forget
I
I was counting.
I didn't even bother to count.
And ultimately, it wasn't important to me to know. So
we know of one family in particular that didn't make it.
Yeah.
Or didn't show.
No.
It wasn't for any specific reason. I don't know what happened.
We're busy. Staring
Forgot.
at our,
I don't know.
Staring at our buttholes.
Maybe.
Right.
So there was, that was probably 6 or 8 people or something like that. So almost a full table's worth of people.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And there were, I think, a couple other people that didn't make it. But for the most part, everyone made it.
Yeah.
My older brother was there with his wife and 4 of his 5 kids. Lots of people. Lots of people. It came out so well. The food was amazing. The caterer is Roundhouse Deli here in Roseville.
Mm-hmm.
They're known for tri-tip tacos. So he has a smoker out in front of the restaurant on a trailer that he smokes tri-tip in, and then he makes a taco plate with that there at the deli, and that's what Chandler wanted for the catering.
Mm-hmm.
Which
I like the sauce, sauce.
The red hot sauce?
Yes, the taco sauce.
Yeah. A little spicy.
It was, but I put it on all 3. Now, first one came out with a...
Oh, of course it did.
So it was a little hot.
Yeah.
Not hot. Came out hot.
Yeah.
So that taco...
Scorched you a little bit.
Put a little...
Yeah, now I'm sweating.
Yeah, put a little fire on the backside. But then just... And that was completely unknown. It was.
Oh, you found out later it was hot.
Yes, it wasn't until I got. She told. I think it was who was in front of me. It might have been Dave that was in.
Okay.
Hashtag Hey Dave. It was in front of me. I think he said something about like what is it, and the lady preparing the tacos was like, it's our own in-house made sauce.
Yeah.
It is a little spicy.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if Dave put any on his, but I got there and I'm like, fucking, it's in-house made. Like, so it's not fucking, that's what it was. Dave asked if it was Tapatio or something.
Oh, I see.
And she's like, no, it's ours.
We make
it's in-house, but it is a bit spicy. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll do that. And then I got a...
Like a clog that unleashed.
Yes, like a little cilantro leaf that was plugging the nozzle. So my first one was like swimming on the first bite. I'm like, fucking, I'll see it, whatever. And then got back to the table and was like, well,
here we go.
There's only one way to live this evening, dangerously. And then my butthole was like, you're gonna, keep the toilet bowl cold.
Now, have you been to Roundhouse before?
Yes, but I've had sandwiches.
Oh.
I've never had the tacos.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. I liked it.
Their tacos are really good. In fact, I actually really like, more than the tri-tip, their chicken tacos.
Is that what I saw?
There was
a whole tray of left inside the...
No, it was a mix of tri-tip and chicken.
Was
but
it?
Like
Okay.
my tray had 1 chicken and 2 tri-tips in it.
Oh.
And I almost would have done the other way around, like 2 chickens and a tri-tip.
I also The tortillas, the homemade tortillas.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm like, fucking.
They made all those fresh
I'm
that
like,
morning.
God damn it! I really like. So one of the things I did Sunday was like, homemade corn tortillas. Oh well, fucking, why am I not doing this?
Right.
Like I should be doing this. And when we went grocery shopping Monday, I think
Yeah.
I bought a bag of masa.
To make your own.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Venus is like, "What the? Why? What's that for?" I'm like, "Next time I make tacos, I'm making my own corn
Making-
tortillas." She's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, the rice and beans were good.
yeah,
So everything, I thought the food went well.
yeah.
So hats off to Roundhouse, and man, it just ended up being a really nice day.
As long as they had a great time and enjoyed everything,
Yeah.
fucking, I mean, ultimately,
Yeah.
our enjoyment is irrelevant as long as they got what they were hoping for.
I did a speech and I fucked it up.
Did
So-
you?
Oh yeah, I had stuff I wanted to say that it just
Left your mind?
Yes, like getting up in front of people and talking.
Yeah.
And I had a thing like lined up that I wanted to say, and I said the bit that I wanted to say, and then I had stuff I wanted to tie that together with other things, and it all left my brain. And
I would not have noticed. I didn't.
I mean,
I thought you ended
because the thing of it is I told a disparaging story about my son and the burner phone,
right.
and then I didn't get to the point, which was the point is that number one, he knows how to communicate.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and number two, he's a guy that knows how to get some stuff done.
Yeah.
So those were
Oh, that's where you were going.
that's where I was headed.
the other half
And
of the story.
It literally just left my brain, and I froze, and I was like, I'm standing here in front of 100 and whatever number of people.
But it's a bold move because you did it. Off
It was
the
off
cuff.
the cuff, and I
'Cause
did
you're-
not have it written down, and I had been thinking about it from wedding time through
Yeah.
eating and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. And I didn't have any of it written down.
Yeah.
I had no notes, and I just was like, I got this. And
Yeah.
then I get up there, and it just
and then you
it flew the coop.
flew the coop.
Yeah. And then I felt stupid.
Ah, no worries.
So anyway, but it was fine.
yeah.
It was good. I had a really good time. I got a lot of compliments about the venue and the wedding, and so that was real positive. The husband of Kirsten came up to me and was like, "Hey, I just want you to know Chandler's a great kid. We really love that guy." And he had nothing but positive things to say about him. And I was like, that's really cool. Well, your wife's kicking ass.
Right.
That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
She made all the cake pops on her own. Like, she did all those.
Oh, wow.
You would think those were professionally made. But
yes.
she made them all.
Wow.
Yeah. Very impressed. I mean, impressive lady.
Wow.
Hats off to her.
What does she do for actual?
I think she has like a degree in. I'm gonna mess this up. It's I want to say she's got a degree in something super smarty pants kind of stuff.
But not cake pops.
No, she's just really talented and like
Fucking
creative and
A goddamn overachiever. Good for her.
yeah.
The cake pops were. I thought it was a professional
You would think.
cake popper.
No,
Poppinator?
Kirsten made those in her kitchen.
Wow. God damn.
Even Dave said something about it in
Yeah.
his reply earlier. It was like, those fucking cake pops, I don't know where they came from, but they're going to put some people out of business.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, Kirsten's kitchen is going to put some people out of business.
Yeah.
Because we were talking to her like, man, you could just make a business. Like, you wouldn't really have to work weekends because you would be making them for people to have for the weekend,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, she can make a business out of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They
for
were
sure.
amazing.
They were high quality professional
I
level.
think we had one of, we had a chocolate one, a vanilla one, and I think a red velvet one.
Oh, okay.
And the Venus and I split the chocolate one, and I went, it tastes like a chocolate donut.
To me, it tasted like a ho-ho or something, or Like it was
Sure.
very
Yeah, like a host. To me, it was like
Yeah.
a chocolate frosted Hostess donut.
yeah.
It was like-
very similar to that.
I just ate a
This is insane.
whole Pop'em donut, and I'm like, fuck. All right.
I used to get the sleeves of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That and some Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
You know.
Christ.
So
Sleeves of donuts.
yeah. So it was a good time though. Enjoyed it. Don't want to ever do it again.
Well, you have one child left. So
You know, it's what we figured out was the difference between the cost difference is where it's either you go with, you try and price it down like that. Now you're having to do all this stuff yourself,
yeah.
and you're going to save a bunch of money for sure. You can put together a beautiful wedding.
Yes.
But you are going to work your ass off. That is
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
That's the trade-off. The
You're-
bill comes due to somebody.
Yeah, you're not going to be you're at that point you're not just hanging out at the wedding with no fucks to give. You're in it. You've got stuff to do.
Right.
Versus if you spend a bunch of money, then you can kind of sit back a little bit. So it's the comfort level,
Right.
right? Like how much do you want to actually enjoy the wedding? You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Now I will say Danny, the photographer, probably at the top of the list as far as one of the hardest working people of the day.
Yeah.
She was busy with pictures all day long.
Yeah.
She handled herself clutch. She's a very good photographer. I've seen her work before,
Yeah.
but she's probably never going to do another wedding again.
Really?
Yeah, she said she was done doing weddings already.
Oh.
And she was
Came
only
out of
doing
retirement.
she was only doing it for Chandler.
Really?
Yeah. But
Well.
she does really, really nice work.
Hmm.
So we'll see when a couple, 2-3 weeks or something when those are available. But
Nice.
and did you see the telephone? Did you get a chance to use the telephone?
I knew it was there, but I did not use it.
Okay.
When I went to go, we did.
Was there a line?
Yes.
Yeah.
The inebriated, the Blanton's. No one from the venue would listen, but the Blanton's whiskey bottle had been emptied, and the groomsmen were rotating through the phone.
Yeah.
And I went,
I'll be back.
I'll be back. And I never made it back because they were having a good time, and I'm like, the boys are having some fun, so I'll fucking.
So we got that tray of tacos you were talking about, the extra taco. I was eating one of those, and someone said, "Oh, you need to go do the phone thing." I was like, "Oh shit, I forgot about that." So I'm like eating a taco, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm having a taco."
Nice.
So I did get a chance to do that, but the lady and the husband who own the property just are bang up nice people.
Yeah. I had a small conversation with her.
Yeah.
Super pleasant to talk to.
Super nice lady. I don't know what her name is.
Nope.
There was a little bit of my dad drove, so he lives like near Vegas in Pahrump, Nevada.
Yeah.
And he drove up he's got a Dodge diesel with a camper on the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And so they take it camping, but he drove that up and then showed up. And prior to that, I knew he was doing that. And he had mentioned he wanted to be able to stay there for the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, this is like someone's home. It's gated. They don't want people there hanging out at night. And there's a wedding the next day.
Yeah.
You know, like, no,
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work. So I told him.
Yeah, it's not a camping venue as well as the wedding venue.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he asked them while he was there, went around me, and asked them, and they were like, "Oh, sure, that's no problem." So he actually did end up sleeping there that night.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I didn't get a chance to talk to him afterward. But I'm like, whatever happens is on him, I guess.
Yeah.
But they were nice enough to let him stay there, which I thought was cool. They didn't have to do that, you know.
Yeah.
So, man, what a busy day. And then, we're still kind of dealing with the aftermath of all the
When did they
stuff
leave?
come home.
When did the kids leave?
Their flight out was like 5:30 Monday
Okay.
in the morning.
Yeah.
And so we've been FaceTiming them a bunch.
When
They
did
were
they
at-
come home?
Sunday. So they were at Epcot today. Yesterday they were at the Hollywood Studios.
Mhm.
And then tomorrow I think they're going to Pensacola or something
Yeah.
to do some stuff,
Mhm.
like a not in the parks day.
Go
They
film,
rent a car,
film some
yeah.
shit at Hullover Inlet.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. But they rented a car. They're going to go do that, and then I think Friday and Saturday are park. They're going to do park days again.
Nice.
Probably Magic Kingdom, and I mean, I assume, and something else. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what their plans are, but it's pretty cool to see. Like they were in Epcot today, and he was like FaceTiming me, and so I had it up on the computer,
Yeah.
just like watching him walk around and go through stores and stuff.
That's awesome.
I'm like, well, this is kind of like being there.
Close.
Yeah, I mean, without having the hurt feet and the sweaty armpits.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like
Close enough.
80 something degrees or 90 degrees with like 75% humidity or whatever.
I don't miss that from back there.
No.
Not even a little bit.
And now, of course, it's hurricane season, which there is a hurricane brewing.
I didn't know there was a hurricane, and then when you sent the picture, I didn't immediately recognize the location that you were sending me because the path was it was past the Florida Panhandle
Yeah.
and coming up the other way.
So it's
And I
like
went, where is this?
It's like in the
Oh.
Cancun, south of Cuba area, and it's expected to hang a right and go sort of north,
The
east
yeah.
into the western part of Florida and like
Yes.
uh,
Georgia, Alabama.
Alabama or Mississippi, whatever state that is right next to Florida on the left.
Yeah.
So, but I think they're going to skirt it. They'll get skirted by, but they'll probably get wind and rain, some wind and
yeah.
rain, you know. They had he was saying there was a little wind and rain there today, although it didn't look terrible. So they might get super lucky. The only thing I'd be worried about is if it's going to mess with any of their travel plans on Sunday.
Oh, coming home.
Yeah, that would be about the only thing I'd be worried about.
Hmm.
Because it looked like their NOAA path kind of has it like missing the main leg of Florida,
Mhm.
you know, the peninsula.
Do you know if their flight coming back has a hop somewhere? Like, will they have to go north, or can they just?
It does have a hop, but I don't remember. It might be in like Dallas or something.
Yeah.
They went through, because I think on the way out, they went through Denver. They hit Denver first and then down. And then I think on the way home, they go into Dallas and then home.
Yeah.
Southwest, so, you know.
Seatings A, B, C.
No
No peanuts. No.
Yeah, no frills.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, fuck.
Well, he says he has anxiety and they let him pre-board, so he just does that.
Oh, well, hey, man. Whatever.
I mean, he does have anxiety, but I mean, I don't know.
what was he talking about?
Stretching a
Yeah,
little
he
bit.
doesn't have Red Bulls or energy drinks because it
Oh yeah, amps him.
zips him up into a frenzy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't drink coffee really unless it's decaf now. Bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't really drink alcohol much anymore.
Oh, really?
Although he did at the wedding.
I mean, I don't know who hit the Blantons, but it was gone.
Right. I know, because when we were lining up, was it for pictures or something? Cody was like, "Yeah, you want some brandy or whatever it was?" And
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, I'm good." You know, no.
I saw.
And
I
it was
saw
about
one
half
of.
empty.
It was when Venus and I got there. It was someone had been hitting it, but it was still pretty much full, and they were all hanging out at the staging for the gazebo doodad,
Yeah.
the bar, and they were I think they'd just come from pictures, and one of them was holding it, and they were just doing, just hit it.
Oh
And
my
they're
god.
passing it around, and I don't remember the young man's name, but he was definitely not a bourbon guy. As he like hit a short snort, and it looked like that fucker was napalm the whole way down for that young man. And I went, first time, huh, buddy. All right.
Now, I wasn't really around them that much for that, but I thought the only thing I thought was wild was that they were hitting it before the wedding. Instead of after the wedding.
I don't know who held it during the wedding, but it, I mean, it probably. I think the last vision I got of it, it was about halfway gone before.
Yeah,
and they all made it down the steps, so they either faked it well, or they handled their shit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, they were supposed to go to Red Hawk. They were going to go to Red Hawk that night.
Oh.
And at one point, Nicole was saying something to her. Oh, we're going to Red Hawk, and he's all, "You are? What are you gonna what are you gonna wear?" Kind of a thing, because she was saying we're gonna leave from here and go to Red Hawk.
Oh.
And she's, "I'm wearing this fucking dress," and I was like, "Damn!" But then the dress was like cutting on her.
Oh.
So she was like really, I guess, towards the later in the evening, like she was really sad that her armpits were kind of like jacked up from the dress.
Oh.
She's like, "I could not wait to get that off." So they ended up going back to the Airbnb, and then suddenly people are crashing out.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, "Well, I guess we're not going to Red Hawk."
Blanton's.
Yeah, because she wanted to go ride drive the carts in her wedding dress and stuff.
Oh, that would have been funny.
I know.
Yeah.
That would have been good video / pictures.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had a awesome table.
Yeah.
I don't know how that worked out, but whoever planned that.
Was the kids did that.
Dave and Nat.
Yeah.
Was
without saying.
Was always going to be we would have been fine just the four of us.
Yeah.
Is it Dave?
It's Dave.
Or is it Bert?
It's Dave.
Because I was standing off to the side when the initial table introductions got done, and Venus was of the mind that he actually goes by Bert.
I know him as Dave.
I know him from Mike and Chandler as Dave.
Yeah. He introduced himself to me as Dave because I'd never met him before.
Right. And his name on the fucking table card was Dave.
Right.
Him and his wife and their two daughters. It was like it just fit in. Yes, it was like old souls.
Oh, okay.
We were, and the first question he asked me, so what's your podcast about?
Really?
Yes, and I went, after
what are you going to talk about
after Jason and I went, boy, if I had to condense it down, I gave him the same thing. I'm like, it's a campfire of dudes just talking about random shit.
Yeah.
And he went, really? And I went, the couple years there at the beginning, we tried really hard to like structure it into like blocks and talk about specific topics. I said, and
we couldn't do it.
We couldn't do it. One, like the consistency wasn't there.
Yeah.
And two, it's just him and I.
Yeah.
So
keeping ourselves on track was...
keeping ourselves on, like, we'll just start rambling about anything and nothing.
Yeah.
And I said, so it just kind of almost felt forced and unnatural. We walk into every show just shooting the shit.
Yeah.
And we have no problems filling an hour plus of recorded time. Never.
Right.
So it's one shot, one take.
Unless you get what you get,
unless there's a tech problem, but it's and he's like, oh, and I said, he was like, well, what do you talk about? I'm like, we talk about dad shit.
Yeah.
We talk about cars. We talk about the kids. We talk about this, that, the other thing, but nothing in particular. I said, we don't make money, so it's not really a monetary venture for us. I said, I have looked at it pretty much since the inception as a way to leave behind a time capsule for the kids and for my kids' kids. I said, it's out there into the ether, and when I am gone from this planet, my kids and their kids and their kids and kids will always know a story about me and my friend being guys, being dads, being a husband, being a friend, being a confidant, whatever.
Being a repair guy.
Yes. It's just
you name it.
Tips, tools, tricks, jokes, terrible puns, and jokes that you wouldn't need to know or want to know about your parents or your grandparents. It's all out there in the open.
For sure.
I said, we talked about his daughters were both very lovely. His youngest daughter, we were telling stories about, I think it was about driving, young kids and driving and the skill gap that we've noticed. And a couple of times in talking about, I think Nat had asked, like, how are the kids? How's Piper? How's Xander?
Yeah.
And I had name dropped a couple of times in looking in Dave and Nat's direction, Piper, and Dave, his wife kind of leans over the table and goes, just excuse me, your daughter's name is what? And I said, Piper. And she went, we wanted to name our daughter Piper. And at the time, both of her daughters were up getting refreshments or getting snacks at the thing.
Yeah.
She's like, I wanted to name my daughter Piper, but Dave
wouldn't do it.
Didn't, so we didn't. And I went, oh yeah, Piper was her name. Venus's idea for a name. We had other ideas. How old is she? She's 20. She'll be 21 next year. And then we have a son, Xander, and he's 16, going on 17 soon. Just good talk. And then when the oldest daughter, who I didn't know which one was which at the time, she sits down at the table with her little napkin or plate of snacks, and I go, sorry about your name, by the way. And she goes, what? And then the mom goes, oh, not this one.
Oh,
it's the other one.
Okay.
So then we have a giggle because...
Sorry about your name.
Yeah. And we have a giggle, and Dave is just like, I fucked that one up from the get-go. It's my biggest life regret.
Oh,
like,
God.
I fucked it. So then the youngest daughter comes back, and the sister... the older daughter then goes, everyone here is sorry about your name. and she's like, what? And then the mom goes, they have a daughter named Piper. And she went, and then then it's a big joke at the table. And the youngest daughter goes, I live with it. I'm okay with the name I have. So the whole there's a whole family joke there that's cleared. And it was quite funny.
That's cool.
We had, great conversations. It was, I'm younger than Dave, AJA Dave.
Yeah.
And I gathered I'm 5-ish, perhaps years younger than Dave from Bay. We talked about it. Like, I bridge a very weird age gap based off of like how I was brung up and where I was brung up. Like, I fit in okay with a half a generation above me and half a generation below me.
Sure, yeah.
And we were talking about, kids and the waiting until later to drive and the driving skill set that's a gap. Dave from Bay grew up in Santa Barbara. Piper is looking at 2 colleges to transfer out of from the TAG program here at Sierra, one of which is UC Santa Barbara.
Oh.
I will be going with her in middle of October to tour the campus.
Nice.
They lived right there. So we picked brains about, were very familiar with the area, very familiar with the campus, had moved up here because as they were starting their family, there was no way that they could make it work. Like, financially, it was just too expensive down there. So they moved up to the Meadow Vista Weimar area. Their daughters who are probably 5-ish years ahead of, our oldest at Piper.
Yeah.
Had, the conversation was when their daughters they did well in school and were convinced the country is dumb. And were convinced they were going out to the big cities and get the college education, and they would be anywhere but the country. And they have found that now they both live in the area because the country and the foothills and the Northern California area is, most importantly, more affordable than probably most other places in the state.
For sure.
2, I tell you, once you get the country and the peace of mind from that kind of atmosphere and the slower pace, it is hard to then put yourself into a place where the hustle and bustle of constant roadway noise or
I don't know anything about that.
Industrial. Yeah, you wouldn't, but if you...
No, I do. That's my point. Is my house backing up to a major 6-lane road.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was interesting that the daughters' perspectives, they had the peacefulness of the country that they didn't think they needed or wanted was something that had stuck with them, and it made for better quality of life.
They missed it.
Yeah, they missed it.
Mm-hmm.
God, I had a super great question that the whole table had. I asked Dave, like, man, I've been wanting to ask you this for the longest time. I said,
Samson?
Yes, AJA Dave.
Yeah.
I said, what is your yardstick that you are using to measure when it's time to retire? And he went, oh, well, damn, that's a good That's a good question. That's a good, because Dave.
I don't even know how old Dave is. 60?
I don't know. I don't ask a gentleman's age, and I'm certainly not going to ask Nat's age. But they're ahead of us, right?
Yeah.
And from the outside looking in, Dave is very good at what he does.
Yeah.
My perception is that Dave is very good at what he does. He wouldn't be good at it in the position that he is if he was terrible.
Right.
So my perception is that Dave does what he does because he's not only recognizes that he's good at his job, but he does it well. So that kind of smooths the edges of, well, how long is the juice worth the squeeze here? If you're in a place where you loathe going to work, or it's so taxing that the salary or the work hours
aren't worth it,
then you start looking for an exit probably faster than someone that enjoys or is passionate about their job. So I was hoping to get something from Dave that was different than probably what you and I get further down the food chain. And what was interesting is that Dave from Bay was like, fuck, I think about that. And ultimately, the advice that I got from Dave AJA was he has found that the timing in which you reevaluate, is it time? Can I go? Reduces less than it is so much like this sucks. He's like, the timing in which I say, do I have the nest egg and am I enjoying work? That iteration of, am I done? Lessens the older you get.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, okay, well that's fair. Both Bay Dave and I were a lot closer in the perspective of we're not close enough because we're worried about the contingencies of having children that may need assistance in some way in a substantial manner
that I need more contingencies financially, and so that means I have to stay in the game longer until I know they're good to go. They're safe.
Yep.
They have their own family that's building their own safety net, and while as a dad, the safety net never goes all the way away. I'm sure you're further along than me, but I can already tell you that I'm a parent. I love my children. The safety net will never go away.
Right.
But the amount and the capacity in which I need to be a safety net will probably lessen as they find their own careers, find their own partners in life, have built their own financial safety nets. You start to walk that back. Dave, we're still a lot closer
In a similar.
yeah. His daughter seemed like she had a pretty good career, and I think Venus said that she had just bought a house. So I think Dave's biggest concern was the youngest daughter wasn't quite there yet or was finishing her education. I wasn't quite sure.
I think the oldest daughter, if I remember correctly, worked with Shanna at some point.
I know the wife did.
Oh, was it the wife?
The wife, or not with Shan. I meant Nicole. I think the wife knew some intuitive stuff with Nicole.
Nicole, I think she helped Nicole get hired on at a place in Auburn
for a while
point.
Before Oracle.
Yeah, and then one of the daughters.
She sounded like she was. I think the oldest referenced like education. She was a teacher or
some kind
worked
of
with kids.
I forget exactly what her role was, but I think she worked with Shanna in the classroom at some point.
We had talked about ASL, like the sign language being an offering at high schools now in addition to like Spanish and whatnot. And the youngest daughter and I, or not, the oldest daughter and I were talking about how Wood Creek offers ASL, and as a teacher or in education, she wished that she had had more exposure to it, because while Spanish is certainly valuable, she has run into, in whatever line of education she's in, has run into more children were having ASL.
I think it's because it's special. She works with special needs kids.
Okay, that makes sense. Is more of a use case of wishing she had it than Spanish.
Yeah.
It probably has a lot to do with the demographics being up the hill a lot more. But she had wished that she had more ASL exposure because it would be more useful to her than to...
Shanna learned it.
Did she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Dave had mentioned, he's like, I see Chandler doing shit all the time on FaceTime with his mom, with Shan.
Yes.
He's like, I see him doing shit fucking... He's like, I don't know what the hell he's doing.
And that's probably why.
They're talking shit about you. I don't know if Dave will listen. It was, it was a great table. And that Dave... like you and me, social anxiety did not, when it came time to earn our right to go get fucking food, everyone is like, well, it's you're going. And Dave was talking about how he just straight up, short of like panic, will freeze up in front of people, like we'll get, and then he's like, I get flushed, and then, and fucking AJA Dave, he
doesn't give a fuck,
but he didn't want, no, he did not absolutely want to get up there and like answer questions. He's like,
oh, he didn't?
No, he's like, no, Foo, you go up there. So
who did it? I didn't see it.
did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and then I fucking rocked the shit out of Anish, Anish. So he went 2 rounds getting bombed. I'm like, oh, well, I'll go up there. I already stood up in front of everybody once. I don't care. No one else was clearly going to do it. It should have been the 2 daughters because they would have been, probably could have got us food in here just because they look nice.
I thought that was a clever way of, like, releasing the tables to get dinner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
then, I got up there and answered the question.
You would think Dave Sampson would be more adept to public speaking, considering he's
It probably
CEO.
would. I just think Dave didn't want to get a question wrong and then have to stand up there.
You didn't want to be the
Yeah.
guy that fucked the whole table.
Yeah, yeah. Fucking, and none of the ladies were gonna do it, and Dave was like, absolutely not.
I'm trying to remember because I wasn't at the table at the time when they were saying, oh, the family can go get food or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just saw like the whole table get up and I went, fuck, it's dinner time.
Food.
Yeah. So then I quickly walked over to the table and grabbed my plate and like caught up with everybody.
Oh, nice.
I had no idea. I don't even know what
Are we eating?
Yeah. Oh shit. It's time.
God damn.
Had no idea. I don't even remember who I was fucking bullshitting with somebody, I'm sure. I tried to like make the rounds, and like talk to everybody.
Well, you're the dad.
Yeah. So anyway, man,
We're at time.
what a weekend.
What a weekend. I'm
Yeah.
glad they had a good time.
Yeah.
And you did well as the sad dad.
Yeah. Well,
But you were a happy dad. I saw numerous times you and mom were very proud. So,
oh yeah, no, yeah, there's no question. And we love Nicole, so it's a no, it's easy. It's a no
it was a slam dunk.
Yeah. But it was also, man, there were a couple times we're standing, the kids come down and Nicole and her dad show up at the top of the stairs. Chandler starts tearing.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, motherfucker. Here I'm trying to hold it back and I'm having struggles because he's just going.
As soon as she got to the top of the steps,
he lost it.
your son lost it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I gave him a good hand a couple times. Like, it'll
Yeah.
be okay. Like,
Yeah.
good for you. I mean, that's love right there. It was good.
Yeah.
And then your wife kept kind of looking around as she's trying to record, and she's getting like what looked like to be your shoulder because she's looking around to make sure her boy's okay.
Yeah.
His best man was giving him, it's okay. Comforting pats as well.
Woo, oh,
It was good stuff.
tearing up right now. Anyway, good weekend.
Yes.
Long, lots of work. Still not done.
Still not
but
done.
We'll get there.
No.
No. Well,
A
I mean,
lot of
we still have like stuff to organize and like post on Facebook Marketplace. Like, here's a shitload of stuff for a wedding,
Oh,
kind of things.
like
because-
paying it or
Yeah, I mean, all the table settings, like with the candles and stuff.
Oh yeah.
All- we bought all that stuff. So let's unload
You
it
don't
to
need
somebody.
to keep it.
No.
Melly's not engaged.
I don't
so-
need 3 boxes full of candle holders and
glass candle.
Yeah.
Whatever's.
yeah. So there's some cleanup of all those and getting them posted and a bunch of stuff like that.
Well.
It seems like it never ends.
Well, as soon as they come back, just go drive it over to their doorstep.
Drop it off.
Yeah, congratulations. Here's your first wedding gift.
I mean, I don't need to
Sure.
wait for them to come home just to go drop it off in their garage.
Yeah, just press the ring or the doorbell and be like, it's right here.
I'm just leaving it on the porch.
It's yours. Congratulations, newlyweds.
Well, Melly is watching the dogs right now, so
Oh.
she's staying over there, and we've been over there the last couple of nights, like having dinner and spending time with them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
their dogs are crazy.
Yeah.
Their
Good.
dogs are nuts. It's a shitastrophe every day.
Oh, yeah?
It's a urinary festival. It is just bonkers. It's
like-
a good shit eating time all
Yeah.
the time. It's just one of them is on its period
Oh.
and wears a diaper and may bleed on the couch. Like, who knows?
Congratulations, newlyweds.
Yeah, that was the other thing that happens. Sorry to run long here. That Winnie started to have her period like Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday or something like that.
Yeah.
So right at the good time for the wedding where you got to put a diaper on her so she doesn't bleed all over the place.
Yeah.
And then Max catches a whiff of that, and he's all he's all excited.
I'm looking to get some bone
We
on,
took
baby.
him over there last night, and we were having. There were a couple times we're like, "Get off of her!"
Oh,
You know, she's wearing a diaper for crying out loud. What are you doing?
you gonna push through that? Come on now, you're gonna bend something or break it.
But he's like, it's amazing. Like, he doesn't know what the fuck is going on. He just knows he wants to saddle up and start squeaking it out.
yeah,
You know,
I'm on automatic here, buddy. This is instinct, and I need to penetrate.
and like the three of us are like, dude, you have no balls.
Yeah,
You are a nutless dog.
that's her ear, buddy. Take it easy.
Jesus. Anyway, so there's a lot going on.
On that note, you should return the cart.
You should wash your ass.
Wash your hands.
Check your oil, Tony.
Stay up to date on your shots.
Make the call if you need to.
Register to vote.
Do the kindness. Is that it?
Pick up the broom.
Oh, pick up a broom for sure.
Make the call. Do the
I
kindness.
think that's it.
And we'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.